The call ended, but his laugh stayed in my ear like a knife lodged too deep to pull out. I stood in the rain outside the shelter, watching the glow of fluorescent light spill across cracked pavement. Inside, my sister was curled on a cot, her arm bound in cheap plaster, her body trembling under a blanket that smelled of bleach. She hadn't even looked at me when I walked in. Shame does that. His voice echoed, "She's your problem now." A part of me wanted to crush the phone against the wall, but I didn't. I slid it back into my pocket. Anger is wasted when it spills too quickly. Instead, I leaned against the wet bricks, letting the cold soak into my skin. The rain didn't matter. The ache in my chest didn't matter. What mattered was how calm I felt. Because men who laugh like that, men who run while others bleed, they leave trails. And I followed trails through darker places than this. I closed my eyes and pictured his yacht, his glass of bourbon, his mistress draped across his arm. I pictured my sister's swollen face, the emptiness in her eyes. One image canceled the other. I opened my eyes and I knew. This wasn't grief anymore. This was work. The next morning, I sat beside her cot. She didn't speak, but her silence said enough. Her arm wasn't the only thing broken. She whispered once, her lips barely moving. He took everything. I didn't answer. Later, as she drifted into shallow sleep, I looked at the intake forms stacked on the desk nearby. The dates, the injuries, the withdrawals from their joint accounts, it all lined up with a timeline too neat to be accidental. He hadn't left in anger. He'd left in strategy. That was what chilled me. Not the betrayal, not even the mistress. It was the calculation. He had studied my sister's weakness, her loyalty, and he had exploited it. He emptied the accounts, liquidated their savings, transferred the house into a shell trust. She hadn't even noticed until the eviction notice came. I imagined his laughter again, this time not over the phone but in the echoing hollow of her skull, where trust once lived. I thought of the years I spent overseas, watching men trade loyalty for scraps of power. I'd seen what betrayal did to the body, how it drained the will before the blood. She had given him everything, and he had left her with nothing. That was the truth I swallowed like glass. That was the truth I would return to him. I didn't storm his yacht. I didn't shout across the water. I waited. Patience is sharper than rage. Through a contact, I pulled his financial records, offshore accounts, cash purchases. He thought he was careful. He wasn't. I visited the marina at night, just walking the docks, listening to the hollow knock of water against hulls. His boat was easy to find, gleaming white, too clean, a monument to vanity. I didn't touch it, not yet. Instead, I followed the mistress. She wasn't hard to track. Luxury stores, hair salons, restaurants where the wine list cost more than rent. She thought she was untouchable too. People like her always do. I collected pieces, receipts, phone records, photos, not for me, for him. Every step was deliberate, like loading a magazine one bullet at a time. By the time I was done, I had a file thick enough to choke him, and I was ready to hand it over. I waited for him on the dock. He spotted me before I spoke. His grin faltered just slightly, like he'd seen a ghost. Maybe he had. I held the folder in my hand. I didn't wave it. I didn't need to. "Thought you'd be too busy playing hero," he sneered, but the edge in his voice betrayed him. I said nothing. I just handed him the folder. He flipped it open, expecting nothing. Then his face shifted, first annoyance, then disbelief, then panic. Every receipt, every offshore transfer, every proof of his betrayal laid out in order, a mirror too sharp to look into. He looked up at me, waiting for anger, for accusation. All he found was silence. That was worse. I leaned closer, my voice steady, flat. "You didn't just break her. You built the fire and left her inside it. Now every lawyer in this state will know your name, every creditor, every investor. You're already finished. You just don't feel the flames yet." His mouth opened, but no words came. His mistress shifted nervously beside him, her eyes darting between us. She knew. I straightened. She doesn't have to chase you. I already caught you. And I turned, leaving him with the file still trembling in his hands. Behind me, his voice cracked, calling after me, but it was useless. His world had already collapsed inward. I'd simply let him see it. Back at the shelter, my sister stirred when I sat down. "Did you talk to him?" she asked. Her voice was fragile, but beneath it, a flicker of hope. "I did," I said, "nothing more." She didn't need to know the details. She only needed to rest. I looked at her, pale against the pillow, and felt no anger anymore, just clarity. Betrayal always eats itself alive. All I did was set the mirror in front of him. As she drifted back to sleep, I stood. Walking out, I felt the rain again, cold and clean, and I realized something. His laugh was gone, forever.